of what else could it be. So thank you everyone for joining the session today. Like I said, you feel free to call me Asha. And I am based in Germany, and I will talk to you today about agility in the age of AI, empowering teams with intelligent tools. I just have one slide prepared. The most is going to be conversation, and feel free to post your questions in the chat, and I will try my best to respond to that. So this talk is a mix of, how do I say, technical philosophy and practical applications. So harnessing the power of AI has been a lifelong dream for a technology enthusiast like me. I started doing this, I guess, about, I don't know, even during my engineering days. But as a technology leader, I am committed to creating value for my organization. My vision is expected to be grounded by the constraints of reality. So believe me, it's not bad, neither sad that you have constraints. It's basically it's grounding you to reality. So I, like I said, I'm based in Germany, and trust me when I say this, we are a fan of rules, regulations, and restrictions. So when it comes to decision making, we don't just say let's do this. We prefer, let's do a thorough research and analysis, and let's perform a proof of concept and analyze the result of the proof of concept, and then decide whether to do a pilot, and analyze the result of pilot and decide whether to start small or a big bang. And sometimes we make the decision that let's not do this at all. So does this mean we aren't agile or adaptive and innovative? Germany has some of the biggest manufacturing bases here. So no, it certainly doesn't mean that these organizations and enterprises are not agile or adaptive and innovative. It's just that they are grounded by constraints and realities. Does this mean we can continue to put constraints as a navigational system for future proofing? Most certainly not. And that is a big no. No. The very root of agile. So I was doing a little bit of research also as part of this conversation, this talk. And the very root of agile is actually plan to learn, not to predict. I prefer this statement followed by fail fast, learn fast. And we are operating in an environment where change is continuous. Transformation is just part of life, and complexity is default. And certainty or lack of ambiguity is a luxury to have. And the only way forward for existence, as well as for growth, is how Charles Darwin would put it, evolving. We have to evolve. We should evolve. Evolution is the way. And here we are now with powerful accelerant called artificial intelligence. This changes the whole dynamics, and the ripples are global, as everyone knows, everyone is well aware of it. AI isn't just another tool in a stack. It is now integrated with every single tool in the stack. I would like to see the role of AI differently, at least in my perspective, within my organization and the scope of my deliveries. Let me go ahead and say this. AI does not create agility. It reveals it. It reveals the threshold of agility of your organization, your processes, your workflows, and you name it. In my role, leading global workplace platforms, I have the ownership to keep the lights on. Basically, it's IT infrastructure. You got to keep the lights on. Otherwise, your mailboxes are not working, your network is down, you can't have online meetings and stuff. So from Microsoft tenants, managing and operating and securing Microsoft tenants, to tens of thousands of devices, to thousands of applications consumed by the users spanning across the globe, you got to keep the lights on. So despite great technology transformation, adoption affinity, in a classical world, decisions still take too long. And ownership is kind of blurred at the edges. And teams are not really from resistance or reluctance. Mostly they are hesitated not to make any decisions. They lack the clarity. Everything that is surrounding us is quite ambiguous. And then AI scaled. Information stopped being bottleneck. In the recent years, that's what we have seen. It has scaled, it has exploded. AI could summarize incidents in minutes, draft communications in seconds, highlight highlight the patterns that probably what we have missed. And the teams that accelerated weren't the ones with most features. The teams that kind of succeeded and went progressed well were the ones with clear guardrails and ownership. So they had more transparency to how they operated. They were grounded. Who decides what's non-negotiable and where teams are empowered to act? That's when a simple truth kind of crystallized for us. Tools don't create agility, clarity does, transparency does. Now this is a power couple that I'm talking about, agility and artificial intelligence. One is a powerful concept and the other one is a powerful enabler. Clarity about standards and safety. For example, in my organization, we have something going on called Vision Zero, which is all about safety standards, ensuring safety and well-being of employees. So clarity about decision rights, clarity about difference between what must be consistent. There are certain levers that has to be consistent when you're managing IT or IT infrastructure: security, identity, compliance. These levers provide ground to lay the foundation. And what are the flexible levers? Workflows, automation, local optimization. That provides the building block upon which you can build. You can build upon this foundation. With that clarity, AI becomes a capability layer with variable roles of competencies, freeing intelligent people, smart people like us to do what only people can do. We can exercise our judgments, we can weigh the trade-offs, we can build trusts and trustful relationships, and that's what I call as empowerment. Now, let me reframe agility for the age of AI. So, for a long time, for industrial and enterprise scenarios, agility meant how we deliver, how fast we deliver. So, today, agility is how fast we learn, align, decide, and then safely and securely, when the information and exterior stakeholder factors keep changing, how do we make decisions? How do we progress? So, insights, for me, insights are valued more than a 30-page PowerPoint report and dashboard. So planning has given more space to well-informed decision making. So that helps me as a leader when I have to make decisions. With AI has the potential to articulate ambiguities as choices with consequences. And AI is emerging as a tool or as an enabler that enables me to, as a leader, and even for my team, my DevSecOps team, my product teams and platform teams, to make those decisions because they are informed about the consequences and the decisions that they are making, the choices that they are making. So if AI is removed, let's say, for example, if AI removed information as your biggest constraint, not AI is removed, AI removed information as your biggest constraint today or tomorrow, what would still slow your strategy down? And what could you clarify today to remove it? So, like I said, AI is an enabler that's going to bring a lot of added advantages, added capabilities to you. But there is something that is still, irrespective of whether AI is there or not, something slowing down your strategy, something slowing down your progress. And you got to clarify today how to remove it, because AI is not really going to help you remove it. AI is going to scale what you have right now. So now I will, in the opening statement, like I said, I've established that agility is now a leadership capability, not really a team ritual. So AI has changed the tempo of work, the stakeholder expectations, and the decision horizons. So what does that mean in pragmatic sense? So I'll say why it matters right now. So you're looking at the first block, why it matters. So velocity has increased of the way we work, the way we make decisions. But if you have noticed, so does the volatility. The volatility of information has also increased. AI accelerates discovery while it is also accelerating disruption. So if we don't adapt how we decide, we are obviously going to fall behind, even if the plan is like super foolproof and green. So with information explosion, we are also dealing with scarcity of attention. So teams drown in information. So they are confused. They have a lot of information to process. And agility today is reducing knowledge friction. So getting from messy inputs to shared and actionable, understanding it quickly. So this is what agility should all be about. So there is this is just my perspective. So there is a sweet spot between outcome pressure and risk appetite. So for executives and for leaders, we expect more certainty sooner. But do we have all the information to be less ambiguous about any situation? No, we don't. And regulators, for example, they expect more safeguards. Now, agility, in my experience and in my perspective, is how we reconcile the speed and the safety by making learning loops explicit and short. So, have you realized that we as humans have now an added edge? I mean, this is how I'd like to look at it. So, AI shifts the human role up the value chain. So, the ethics, trade-offs, storytelling grounded to consistent reality without hallucination, empowerment, these are with us, still with us. Agility is the operating system that lets people and AI coexist and produce value together. So now I'll move to the second block here. Let's quickly trace how agility itself has evolved, because our mindset has to match today's reality. Now, I think I've mentioned that agility is a powerful concept. Now I'm mentioning that agility is also about a mindset shift. So, evolution of agility. The core message is basically agility moved away, like I said, from faster delivery to faster learning and faster making sense out of the situations with the support of AI and such tools. Now let me divide the agile adoption to phase one, two, three phases. I mean, I'm sure you will relate to that. Phase one, processes. We have the sprints, we have the stand-ups, we have the burn down charts. Helpful, but it's ritualistic. It's more ceremony. Phase two, we are outcomes and output driven, hypothesis driven backlogs. We have discovery, we have the delivery, and we have the phase three. That's more intelligent agility, how I would like to call it. So AI compresses the discovery, the research, the synthesis, the options. Agility is now the discipline of framing questions, testing assumptions, and deciding with clarity at a speed that AI enables you to have. So there are unbelievable number of organizations still in phase one, and I'm very sure about that. I've worked in a couple of those. However, my observation is that most of the successfully thriving organizations these days are in between phase one and phase two, while they are trying to build a bridge over to phase three where AI comes into play. So have you really exploited and explored what phase one could offer or maximize? Not really, but maybe it's not necessary as well. What phase two could maximize, probably to a certain extent. But now with phase three already in the middle of everything, we have phase three with intelligent agility that is brought in by the speed and the velocity that AI brings to you. For an agile SecOps organization such as mine, our belief system is transforming and our mindset is shifting. And it's a difficult thing. It's even difficult. It is one of the most difficult thing. The mindset transformation or the organizational transformation is much more challenging than a technology transformation. But this only works when we remember that agile isn't really a tool set, it's actually a mindset. So you can push all the tools you want, you can push all the frameworks of agile and DevOps you want, but as long as the mindset shift is not happening, we will never be on the right track. So now agile as a mindset. Now we are looking at the block, agile as a mindset. So the core message that I would like to emphasize here is that agility is how we think, what we value. So I will go back to the statement that I said: AI or any kind of tool can only amplify it. So if you have faults in your thought, or you have deficiencies in your workflows, using AI, you are simply going to amplify it. You're not really not going to fix it. And probably AI can help you identify it, but if you try to scale using AI, you're just simply amplifying it. So the first important point for me would be principles over processes. We are right now not throwing in all kinds of technical buzzwords. We are rather focusing on more business values. So customer value, transparency, adaptations, user experience, all these principles are now beating the complying to a certain process actually. Another important thing is psychological safety. Honestly, in my organization, this is a big topic, psychological safety. And as leaders, we are kind of really taking all kinds of measures to educate ourselves. So why is psychological safety even important in agility and the AI scope? Because teams surface risks sooner when the leaders reward learning over perfection. So if you are rewarded for learning, you can see the risks way ahead faster. So you don't aim for perfection. You don't have to kill yourself in perfection. You could simply progress and see, it works and it doesn't work. So I call it creating an environment to successfully fail, and I'm quite proud of it. And I have my every attempt of bringing in more and more awareness of psychological safety within myself as well as within my team. I keep preaching and I keep practicing. I am still practicing that. I want to give my team an ecosystem, an opportunity to successfully fail. And I believe best practices are great. I mean, it's good to have a best practice documentation and reading through it. Okay, this could be done this way. But for me, lessons learned from those failures are much more remarkable and important and key to our progress. Now, a very, I don't know, often used word is empowerment. Decisions move to the closest context with clear boundaries. And this is vital when AI creates many plausible options quickly. You gotta be empowered. The dev teams should be empowered to make the decisions. Not just about the speed, also about the direction. So therefore, velocity is so much important. Now, we can radically reduce the theatrics around the weekly status report. So we have the project weekly status report, program weekly status report. I'm sure most of you have participated and probably still participating in that painful exchange. Now, replace it with increased situational awareness, summaries and decisions and sources that are explicitly available and visible. How good that would be. I guess that's where we are headed to. I think some organizations have already achieved that. As a technology leader, I prefer to see the information and insights real time than whisking through, like I said, 30-page documentation. So curiosity led me to upskill. So I'm also right now playing around a little bit with agentic AI using Copilot Studio to build a side project where I can bring in different kind of dashboards. We have a ton of dashboards and KPIs and all those things tracked in Power BI and stuff. I'm trying to bring everything together to have a full overview of all of the departments that I'm managing. And I'm sure it's going to be cool if I manage to do that. So that brings me to clarity enables agility. The core message is that tools don't create agility, clarity does. Clarity of ownership, clarity of standards, clarity of flex zones, the flexibility that you have outside the framework of the defined guardrails. So, who owns the platform? Who owns the outcome? So, what is non negotiable? What is configurable? Workflows, automation, local practices. Who decides enablement, exceptions, rollbacks? So, these are all also adding back into the topic of empowerment and quick decision making. So call me old school, but I still love a good governance model. For me, that gives me a framework to play within, to play around, and to flex outside. The technology infrastructure has grown so much in the last decade, thereby making workflows more complex, much more complex than we have known it. Grounded and governed enablement, rules, and security baselines supported by AI can create smarter workflows where people know that where do they have the flexibility, where do they need alignment, where do they need more clarity for decision making. What will it result? It's going to be awesome. It results in fewer escalations and faster rollouts and even faster rollbacks. So clarity is kind, not restrictive. It lets teams move fast and safely. So that brings me to AI as a capability. So core message here is AI is a team capability, not a project phase. Like I said in the beginning, AI is not a tool or a technology stack itself. It's now part integrated in every technology stack you come across. So treat it like an always on multifaceted colleague that you can really utilize for a variety of activities that really make your productivity through the roof. So research, analysis, solution propositioning, value chain mapping, these are some of the examples of my real life applications of how I'm seeing, how I'm viewing, and how I'm exploiting or utilizing AI as a capability. It actually helps me with this decision. So I sit in meetings where I get three different perspectives from three different teams, And sometimes I got to make decisions. I got to sometimes make some tough calls. People are not going to like me for what I'm going to say. But if my decisions are grounded and logical, that makes me look good. That's one good side of it. The other thing is that I'm making a logical decision that is overall contributing to the business value chain. And how do I do that? I actually use AI to create those perspectives into action items and to plausible outcomes, and it has really worked. um, Knowledge enablement, knowledge management has always been a challenge. Tell me one organization where everything is documented and every document is up to date, and that you're really really super compliant and there is no audit that can crack you down. I'm not working in such an organization. We do lack knowledge enablement, which means knowledge is still stuck somewhere in the heads of people. But single expert bottlenecks is can be addressed to a great extent by creating queryable AI interfaces. Um, so I will transition to the let's ground this into AI in practice, like some of the examples that I've mentioned. So start with high leverage use cases that remove friction from collaboration and decision making. This is something that I tell my team members, and they find it quite entertaining that if you have a difficult interaction with another team, you see what is a workflow that is connecting between your team and that team. Automate it. You bring a tool to analyze a situation, give you a way for automating the workflow. That's how you put tools to work. And although it might sound very funny that you have to reduce manual interactions and stuff, if it's uncomfortable and if it's unproductive, it won't harm for you to look at it from a different perspective. How can I make tools work for me? That brings me to the new ways of working with AI in loop. Our ways of working has evolved. So the core message is about shifting from tracking to making sense out of situations, making sense out of data, from reports to insights, from command to enablement and empowerment. So um, that takes me to agility paradox. Why? It's because too much freedom also creates hesitation and rework, and good governance increases speed by removing ambiguity. And that's exactly what I mentioned in the beginning, that a final watch out would be a freedom without structure can still slow you down. So a good old governance is will take you take you a long way. I would like to kind of close quite overwhelming information sharing session that we are still learning. We, as in the whole world, is still learning how to tame this powerful accelerant called artificial intelligence to our advantage fully. Grounding constraints will continue to keep it real for a while, but I personally cannot fully comprehend what's in store. Honestly, I don't know what's out there. As much as I fear this unknown, I'm equally thrilled about exploring the same. I try to get my hands on every other tool every now and then, try to build something, try to crash my computer once in a while. I keep saying this to my team. Like I said, and an uncomfortable, unproductive interactions can be automated. I wish I could do that. In my role, it's really not possible. You make sure that the QC, the quality check, is still with you, because we still don't have a foolproof machine where hallucinations are completely avoided. I would like to leave a philosophical twist as I wrap. Agility in the era of AI isn't the absence of rule. Instead, it's a presence of the right ones, so we can generate values that matter to people, to nation, to our future generations. And we owe them that much. Thank you very much. I'll take questions.
I thank you, Asha, ever so much for this fantastic view on Agile. And what I really liked about is creating that environment when you said to successfully failed, which I found absolutely amazing to say and very powerful. So I don't know if we have any questions, but I see that we are looking eventually to one for myself. I have what for me, what is the skill that matter the most? And what would you what would you give to our leaders today on the call, as piece of advice and the takeaway, basically, as you know, as to how curious we need to be about?
Um, might sound a bit old school, but I would still say this out loud. Being grounded and having a strong governance actually goes a long way. So, if you lack clarity with everything that you're doing, because we have a lot of complex systems of interactions happening, it is possible that you don't have clarity all the time, but try to gain as much as clarity. It is not possible, it's not practical that you have 100% of it, but just try to achieve that and build a strong governance model around everything that you're doing, especially into AI. Prior to that, you need to have a good governance model. That's how you can lead your team with more clarity. Your team is looking up to you as leaders for answers and for responses and for guidances, and you yourself don't know what exactly is happening, what is going to happen. So I think a good governance goes a long way.
Well, Asha, again, thank you ever so much for, your insight here. So we will now move on.